Alright, here we go. Where did we leave off at? I'm thinking it was here, right? Alright. It's been a little bit. Oh, that's totally fine, Ohilia. If your phone dies, it dies. Thank you for popping in while you can. Alright. Okay. I glanced at the grandfather clock that stood in the middle of the corridor, pupils dilating at the hour. It was 7:59, meaning my class was starting in 1 minute. Oh my goodness! we really overslept, didn't we? Yeah! Yeah, you overslept, boy. You overslept a little bit. Just a little bit, you know? Trying to avoid bumping into other students, I dashed downstairs, determined not to miss the start of my lecture. Just as I sprinted around the corner that had led to classroom 2, someone body slammed into mine painfully. I swayed on my feet and took a few steps back, temporarily stunned by the unexpected collision. It's Vincent! Wait, where did we meet him at? I already forgot where we met him. He's an Omega too, right? Because he's wearing a corset. What? You. Oh, I remember now. He's the one that we walked in the bath and he was so mad to see us. He was like, oh, do. I don't remember what he said, so that was my impersonation of him. But he was not happy to see us, so it's this one, right? Yep. Yep. Okay. I'm sorry, I didn't see you. Even though he was running just like I did. Airhead. Feeling so confident these days, aren't you? No, you think this whole place belongs to you now? Idling about where you shouldn't. Luring alpha students into doing things with you. You disgust me. What? Don't pretend to be oblivious. I heard what happened during your random evening trip to the Alpha Wing. Did you really think that your pathetic attempt at finding an easy hookup in the Alpha dorm is something that will stay secret? Even that fool Oscar and his ridiculous lackey Raymond have enough dignity to turn down a pushy, dull Omega like you. Dude, we didn't... Aura is just very curious and has bad luck. We weren't trying to hook up with anybody. They were coming on to us. What are you talking about? Not to mention trying to hit on Noah Blackwood before class a few days ago. We were just being friendly. This is what happens when they allow shameless strays into a renowned school. You were mistaken. Oh, really? I saw it with my own 2 eyes. The whole school will know all about you soon enough. Just wait until the word spreads. What the hell? Those 2 alphas. Did they lie to Vincent about what happened in their dorm? Look, he's literally stepped right in front of Vincent. You can still see Vincent behind him. He's like, oh, hey, slow your roll. Hi? Oh, hi. Everything okay? You look pale. Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Did Vincent say something say something nasty? I saw him storm off looking enraged like a kicked nest of hornets. Something like that. It doesn't really matter. He's like right behind you, dude. Oscar and Raymond are like the guys that fake scoring chicks even though everyone knows they're lying. Yeah. Yeah, that sounds about right. I should go to class. I'm pretty sure I'll be late. I'll try to catch you later then. Oh, it's our... Oh, he's so gorgeous. This is my professor. This is my professor. I'm always going to be like, oh my god, when I see him. Oh no. Okay, my laptop's dying, and that's what I'm using to, read chat. So, I have a cat on my arm, and you know the rules about cats. You can't get up if the cat is laying on you, so I might be a little slow on chat reading. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Okay. Professor St. Clair. Oh, I love Professor St. Clair. Okay. Aura Moonbell. I literally rushed into the classroom trying to catch my breath. Present? Oh, present. Please, take your seat. Oh, wow. We barely got in. We barely got in on time. Holy crap. That was like pure luck. Just in the nick of time, it seems. I blurted my apologies and went to sit down, trying to make as little commotion as possible. Just as I unpacked my things, the teacher began talking. It took me a moment to locate the correct page in the textbook. Although I found today's subject about the evolution of Omega laws especially interesting, I did my best to focus. My minds kept drifting elsewhere. Omega laws, you know, kind of like how we're not allowed to do a lot of stuff. I couldn't stop thinking about what Vincent had said about my encounters with the Alpha students. You mean lying? Did he really believe I was trying to hook up with some random guy? Or was he just intending to build a bad reputation for me? Probably both. I sighed deeply when the class was about to end. I felt bad about not paying the professor significant attention. He's so gorgeous. Okay. Yes, I'm going to be like that every time he comes on screen. Deal with it, people. That will be all for today. Remember to prepare your essays on the changing of Omega laws. Hey, Epsy Lion! Oh my gosh, thank you for joining the nest! Oh, that's so amazing! Thank you! Thank you so much! I'm glad to have you join. That will be all for today. Remember to prepare your essays on the changing of Omega laws during the past 10 years and bring it next week. Thank you, Professor. I feel like I could have done more during the lecture. My mind wasn't really there. Aura, may I have a word with you? Did the professor notice how distracted I was? Probably. Yes, sir? When everyone left the classroom, Professor St. Clair finished gathering the documents from his desk and looked up at me, smiling. Okay, Ohelia says, Vincent is friends with them. Remember when Oscar said that Vincent was complaining about Aura to them? Ah, okay, yeah. When everyone left the classroom, Professor St. Clair finished gathering the documents from his desk and looked at me, smiling. Are you enjoying the social studies class so far, Aura? Of course, Professor. It's one of my favorites. And I look forward to your lectures every week. I'm really sorry today. I was so... Okay, I got my chat thing back up and running now, so if I missed anybody's chats, I am sorry. Alright. It's back up and running now because my cat decided to get off me so I could plug it in. I'm glad to hear that because I actually have an offer for you. Oh? How would you like becoming my assistant? Me? An assistant? I've noticed how hard you work every time you come in here. And not only that, you have what it takes to understand the subject. To grasp the concepts to make them your own. Thank you, Professor. It means a lot to me. So, what do you say? The work won't be too hard, but I need someone to take care of the portion of the paperwork I exchanged with the headmaster Malviux. It'll be mainly class reports and teaching materials at first, but your role will get more substantial in time. To think that Professor St. Clair holds me in such high esteem. It'd be an honor. I'd be happy to do it. Heck yeah. More time with with the professor I clearly have a crush on, though my character can't date. How do I start? I love that enthusiasm. I knew you're going to be a perfect candidate. Why don't you take this? Professor St. Clair handed me a pile of books and folders. I peeked at some of the book spines, most of them reading, sociology, social studies, social behavior, and the like. The folders weren't labeled on the side, so I couldn't tell what they were. I assumed it was mostly documents concerning classes. And put them on the headmaster's desk for me. I nodded eagerly, picking up the pile carefully from Professor St. Clair's hand. Oh God, I hope the principal isn't in there. The headmaster. I was uncomfy around him. Right away. Thank you, Professor. I'll not let you down. I know that. Thank you for your help, Laura. As I carried the documents to Master Malvio's office. Hey! Okay, there's our roommate, and I don't know who it is on the left. It's been a while since you came to visit us. You all right on your own? Pretty good, thanks. Really? You didn't seem fine the last time I saw you. It's none of your business, honestly. That's cold. Did you need anything? I need to go. It's not me who's in need. Pretend all you want. I can tell you won't manage without my help this month. Oh, that's one of the heat helpers. Oh no. Oh no, that's one of the heat helpers. And Cammy said he wasn't going to go to the heat rooms this time. So, oh no. Oh, Aura, hi. How are you doing? I'm quite good, thanks. Who is that? One of the heat helpers. Oh. Where are you going with all this stuff? I looked at my hands, remembering that I still had a bunch of folders and books to deliver. The headmaster's office. Professor St. Clair appointed me as his assistant, so I'll be doing some small work from him from now on. Wow. That's awesome. Good luck. I'm sure you're the best candidate for the job. Thanks. I'll be going now. No! Cammy, we could have took Cammy with us. Be like, Cammy, yo, bud, you want to walk with us? Come on. Exactly, Ohelia. Ohelia said, do your job. If he doesn't want to visit you, he doesn't want to visit you. Exactly. Exactly. Maybe, like, they're starting to form, like, an attachment to Cammy, and that's why Cammy's starting to feel uncomfortable being down there. 'Cause, yeah. He's not here. I'll just put everything on his desk. After I was done, I headed towards the door, meaning to leave, but stopped after a few steps. Since I wouldn't disturb anyone, maybe I could take a look around. Despite myself, I was very curious about all the prizes and memorabilia that Headmaster Malvo had gathered in his office. It was thrilling to think that the Academy, with its pioneer inclusive program, was achieving such great success. Perhaps it was a sign that things were going to change for the better, not only for Omegas, but for society as a whole. It'll probably be good to get familiar with the office anyway, right? Oh gosh, I hope we don't linger and the headmaster comes in. I glanced at the glass cabinet that caught my interest the first time I visited the office. Let's see what's inside. Oh, the Rose Prince. Tickets to his play already sold out. I can't read that. I have bad eyesight. I can't read out small, but Steelworker Rally announces layoff. Aww. Certificate of Excellence awarded to Mannequin Academy. Nice. Identification card student. And is that Andrian? Age 23, alpha. Okay, sorry. Okay, now I can kind of read it. Okay, hang on. I'm getting closer to the screen to read this. You might have dreamed of witness his brilliance this season, but at the Grand Rose Theater informed us every single ticket to their most recent play is already gone. Okay, well, anyway, I can't read all that. But apparently it's just talking about how the play gets, like, sold out. Alexander Liloff to Rose Prince. Look how pretty he is. Such a pretty boy. Okay, sorry. The cabinet looked foreign, antique, and extremely well made. The magnificent craftsmanship that was put into it evident even to a laik like me. It would be a souvenir that headmaster brought with him from somewhere, or maybe a gift he received. A few documents sat on top of the wooden surface below the glass panel. As far as I could tell, the papers were spotless. Most probably placed in the cabinet as soon as the headmaster received them. They seemed to be arranged with great care, too. Oh, yay! It zoomed in! Yay! Okay, Ahelia's phone is about to die, so she's a-leaving. Thank you for stopping by. I hope you can pop back in later. A certificate of excellence was granted to the Academy. The National Institute of the Education itself recognized it. Mr. Gostov? Oh, okay. Some letter the headmaster received and a student identification card. I'm guessing the card belongs to the best student in the Academy. His data is displayed to motivate others. His class scores were impeccable. Oh, so top of the class, huh? But what's the most curious is that right in the middle, there's a piece of newspaper. The article isn't even related to the Academy. There we go! It zoomed in. I didn't have to try. The Rose Prince. Tickets to his play already sold out. You might have dreamed to witness his brilliance this season, but as the Grand Rose Theater informed us, every single ticket to the most recent play is already gone, and that the sale ended short of an hour. Once again, the Grand Rose Theater, with its rising star Alexander Liloff, broke every record in terms of popularity, surprising both the theater connoisseurs and critics. Alexander Liloff confessed to still be unmated and intended to stay that way, devoting his entire life to acting. I have never considered finding a partner, Liloff said in his interview for the Daily Journal. My ambition lies beyond that. Good for you, Alexander. Oh, I'm glad that it's doing this. As the majority of our readers know, Alexander is the most sought-after Omega actor of the decade. Once his contract with the Grand Rose Theater ends, he is expected to move to the capital and continue his career in the National Theater. Will we see him there at the end of this year? Time will tell. One thing is certain. We wish Liloff the best, as his quickly developing career is sure to soar from here. Huh. He's so pretty. After I was done reading, I looked back up at the photograph that was attached to the editorial. Alexander Liloff. No wonder his plays are so popular. He really does look like a beautiful prince. I'm sure there's a considerable talent to support his popularity, too. A person like that must be swarming with admirers. I checked for a date, curious about how fresh the article was, but there was none on the page. Too bad. Maybe I can ask other students about it later. I would really love to go see one of his plays. I knew it! I knew it! If we lingered too long, he would be in here. What are you doing here? Professor St. Clair asked me to deliver some documents. They're on your desk, sir. I see. Thank you, young man. Mr. Moonbell, was it? Yes, that's correct. The headmaster seemed oddly tense, voice laced with a mixture of emotions I couldn't decipher. From the corner of my eye, I noticed him casting an anxious glance at the cabinet. He must think I'm ill-mannered, barging into his office and checking out stuff like it belonged to me. Undoubtedly, noticing the change in my behavior, the headmaster spoke again, gesturing towards the cabinet. Did you find anything of interest there? Just when I was about to open my mouth, mention the certificate or perhaps the newspaper page, I felt a sudden pressure in my chest, my heart rate quickening so much I could hear the blood flowing in my veins. Oh no, what's happening? It was a foreign, eerie sensation, almost like I was suffocating, while at the same time desperately trying to breathe in the air out of my swollen lungs. When I didn't answer right away, the headmaster took a few steps towards me, hands folded behind his back. He stared me in the eyes studiously as he approached, as if attempting to read what was on my mind. I didn't understand what the strange feeling was, but something told me I should leave immediately. Well? An unexpected wave of heat rose to my cheeks as the headmaster's alpha smell hit my nostrils stronger than it should have, even given the proximity. Dude, are you like releasing your... Are we going into heat? Hang on, are we going into heat? The air around us seemed to shift. I feel dizzy. I think I forgot something back in the library. I should go now. I'm sorry for looking around the office without your permission, sir. It won't happen again. Without looking back at the headmaster's face, I've nearly ran out the door. What is happening to me? I should go to the bathroom, splash some cold water on my face. Okay, was the headmaster putting out, like, his, pheromones, like, to mess with us? And did that overcome us? Because they said the smell was stronger than it should be. Because I don't trust the headmaster. Something's up with that man. Because he says he doesn't understand why he's feeling this way, so clearly it's not heat, because he's experienced heat before. I put my hands on both sides of the sink, staring at my own reflection in one of the mirrors. For a long moment, I contemplated my own face. Pale, skinny, cheeks and ears slightly flushed now, eyes a tad more red and watery than usual. When I leaned in towards the glass, I noticed my lower lip trembling. Could it be that... I shook my head and brushed all the loose strands of dark hair behind my ears. Oh, it'd be much too soon for me to be in the preheat stage already, wouldn't it? I made a fool of myself in front of the headmaster. Well, maybe the headmaster triggered it. It's been so long since my last heat, I almost forgot how it felt. Not to mention that, for a child, it's not nearly as severe. It's only after an Omega matures that a heat begins to feel so unbearable. Dude, have you not had a heat since you were a child? I thought they were supposed to have heats like every month. Do you just have a problem with your heat cycles? I needed to take my mind off of it. Without thinking, I headed towards the library. Or was it every 3 months? Some studying will do me good. Since I'm here, I guess I'll try to find books on Omega laws for the essay. As I turned the corner of the passage that I thought led to the humanities section, my steps came to a sudden halt. In one of the aisles between the bookcases, two familiar figures were standing next to each other. Hey! Julian and Noah. Oh, are we going to get some info about what's going on with them? Because Julian seemed tense around Noah. Julian's a beta and Noah is an alpha. Did they have a relationship? I was just about to open my mouth to say some greetings when I took notice of the tense, unsettling air between them. Are they fighting? Or at least Julian seems to be. Yeah, that's the question. Indeed, the president's brows were furrowed in annoyance, while Noah looked indifferent at most, apparently paying little attention to the other. It's an important rule of the library to put each and every... Oh, this is Julian. It's an important rule of the library to put each and every book in the exact same spot one took them from. You rented the chemistry and biodiversity last week, didn't you? Yes. Why didn't you put the book back in its place then? I did. It's not there. It has to be. Apparently not. Maybe you should look again then. It is your responsibility to obey the rules, just like everyone else in this academy. You can't just... Oh, Aura, I didn't notice you. Julian seems to be overly upset about this. From the very beginning, the tension between him and Noah is almost tangible. I wonder what the reason behind it. Should I say something? I don't know about this. Try to defend Noah. Stay silent. Oh no. Maybe we should stay silent? I don't know where the book is. Better not. I shouldn't chime in a conversation that doesn't even involve me. Hi. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to eavesdrop. I was just passing by. That's quite alright. We're done here anyway. I hope the book is found. Julian glared daggers at Noah's back until he left. So, Aura, going to do some studying in the library? More like research for one of the classes, but yeah. You're a very hard-working student, are you not? If only the rest had your thirst for knowledge. Speaking of which, I've heard that you became Professor St. Clair's assistant. Congratulations. Thank you. I want to support the professor to the best of my abilities. He's been very supportive of me so far, not to mention how absorbing his classes are. As much as I admire your dedication, be careful not to overdo it. It's easy to take a bigger load of responsibility than one can carry. I'm pretty sure he speaks from experience. Yeah, I 100% agree, because this boy is a student council president on top of being a student himself. So he's like doing all of his duties as student council president and taking care of people and doing tours and all kinds of crap. So he knows. He knows about taking too much. I need to go back to the student council room. There's some work I need to take care of. If you need me, you know where to find me. Have a good day, Aura. You too, President. I watched Julian turn around and pass through several aisles and turn left, probably intending to leave the library. So, about my essay. First, I need to find a section dedicated to sociology. I turned in the direction I had been planning to follow before my friend's quarrel provided a successful distraction. After a few seconds, the realization that I subconsciously called Julian and Noah friends slowed down my step a little. I wonder if they actually consider me a friend, or whether it's just my wishful thinking. I don't think I've noticed Noah in anyone's company ever since I first saw him. He might not think of anyone as a friend, for all I know, and certainly not myself. But I hope at least Julian does, if only a little bit. He does seem somewhat happier whenever we talk. Although being helpful is probably a part of his responsibility towards students. I shook my head in an attempt to clear the doubt that were beginning to cloud my mind. Luckily, the sociology section is just around the corner. Once I get down to work, I won't have time for useless musings. But the said luck definitely wasn't on my side today. Just as I reached the intersection where I was supposed to turn right, I saw two figures that, unlike Julian and Noah, I wouldn't like to approach ever again. Oh no, is it those alpha meatheads? It is the alpha meatheads. By pure reflex, I managed to duck behind a bookcase on the opposite side of which Oscar and Raymond were walking towards the main aisle. Apparently, they were too busy snickering to look around, hunched over some page in a heavily illustrated book Raymond was holding open. I have a feeling what kind of book he has. When they emerged from around the corner, I retracted my steps and hid behind the closed side of the tall shelves, not taking my eyes off their receding backs. Did I offend Lady Fortune somehow? All she's been doing since this very morning is putting obstacles in my way. I wonder what other troubles will find me today. Maybe I should just give up on doing anything productive for the time being. Even though I was pretty sure that Oscar and Raymond didn't notice me, I still cast a nervous glance back, double-checking whether they followed me or not. Especially that a distinctively powerful alpha-like air was still hanging around me. At least one highlight to this otherwise horrible day. Too engrossed in ensuring my own invisibility, I was unaware of another person's presence until I heard them speak. Noor! Hey, buddy! Everything okay? You seem agitated. I jumped involuntarily, barely managing to stifle a surprised yelp. It's Noor. Thank goodness, I got scared for a moment. Oh, Sure, I'm fine. Trying to find material for my classes. It's not easy. This library is bigger than it looks. Right. No wonder you're all riled up. Noor's almond-shaped eyes locked with mine knowingly. Is someone giving you a hard time? Nope. I didn't want a quick save. Okay. Yeesh. Oh no. Is someone giving us a hard time? We can tell them about Oscar and Raymond, or we can change the subject. Well, Oscar and Raymond were giving us a hard time. Vincent was giving us a worse time than Oscar and Raymond, to tell the honest. I do want to tell him about Oscar and Raymond. Yeah. Because we do that. I wonder what he'd do. Well, the first time we met, he did mention that there are rumors about me circulating in the Alpha Wing. Perhaps it's better to tell him my side of the story. There's a few students in the academy who don't like me too much, and actively seek to express it. I'm not sure how to deal with them. You are a scholarship student, and an Omega. Those rich kids stick up their... Those rich kids with sticks up their asses can't take that someone like you might not only study in the same classroom, but also surpass them when it comes to overall performance. Which is precisely why you should keep it up. They used to treat my brother the same way when we entered the academy, but they were quickly persuaded to rethink that attitude. Nor did you stand up for your brother? I hope you did. I can imagine what made the bullies leave Esha alone. Nor can be pretty scary, and I haven't even seen him angry yet. You and Esha seem to be really close. Judging by what I witnessed and been told in the orphanage, Alpha's taking such great care of Omegas is unheard of, even if it's their own family members. Well, not typical at least. Is it? Maybe in this country, but certainly not where we came from. Speaking of which, you are Senate Hetty, aren't you? So you know. Yes, my brother and I traveled across the continent to gather some funds to try to make a living. If it wasn't for the scholarship that Mannequin Academy offered us, we'd be on our way by now. So, you and Aisha have been living like nomads? You can say that. That sounds exciting, but also dangerous. When we left, Sinar... I don't know how to say that. We had little to no idea what they thought about us in the other parts of the world. We weren't aware of that the differences in how Aisha was going to be treated would be so severe, not to mention the false beliefs that our kin that circulated so freely. To the majority, we were savages, primitive and exploitable. Our unique experience were... Okay, I'm gonna get a drink. I'm messing up words here. Our unique appearance is prompting many heads to turn, both in fear and fascination. Their attention usually wasn't innocent, though. Judging from what I've heard in the marriage house, his people are highly pursued for sexual services, among other things. There were actual lists full of patrons waiting to take them in. Because I was Omega, I understood how degrading it felt to be objectified. In case of the twins, aside from their secondary gender, their nationality was also a factor that made others scrutinize them. Your facial expression tells me you know a thing or two about it. What made you leave there? If I was born in a country where alphas treated omegas like their equals, I don't think I would ever move anywhere. It's a long story. If we could, we would have stayed. Aisha! Hey, baby! Look at Aisha! Yeah, it's really cool. They're twins, but Nora's an alpha and Aisha's an omega. Look at the babies. Oh, they're actually looking at each other. Here you are. We were supposed to meet in the common room 20 minutes ago. I've been looking for you everywhere. Is it that late? Darn. Sorry, I got caught up in a conversation with the shorty. Let's go. Have a nice day, Aura. You too. The twins turned around and made their way towards the exit, almost hand in hand. I gazed at the retreating silhouettes with slight envy. I really wish I had someone this dear to me. Oh well, brooding won't get me anywhere, but studying certainly will. Let's get down to business. Since the shelves in front of me, which I was currently standing, contained some historical literature, I decided to start there and head to social scientists in a while. After a dozen or so minutes of browsing through the few tomes that looked potentially related to my task, I was still pretty much without any useful material and becoming a little frustrated too. I have a vague feeling that nothing is going according to plan today. Maybe I should do something relaxing for a bit. How about I rent a book or two to read later? I almost forgot that's a possibility. Library is not only for studying after all. Excited by the prospect, I relocated to a different segment of the library that accumulated all sorts of novels. There were positions from all genres, from mystery through romance and history to biographies. Even if I had my whole life to spend on reading, I would never manage to finish them all. It's a paradise. I started browsing the shelves with enthusiasm, in no particular order. There are some authors and titles I was interested in, but the idea of discovering something totally new was just as enthralling. I can't decide what to pick. I ran my finger through the highest shelves I could reach, admiring how beautifully decorated the book's spines were. One in particular, with golden rose and petal ornaments, caught my attention. When I pulled the book out and took a look at the cover, I noticed it was a romance novel. If the title Forever is for Lovers was of any indication, I haven't read many romantic stories. They weren't deemed suitable for us in the orphanage. Perhaps I'll take that one, just to check it out. I took one more novel, a travel journal of someone who lived in the Sinketi, then headed towards the social science aisle. To my surprise, there weren't many books in the section at all. It's mostly empty. I decided to find one of the librarians and ask for assistance, explaining what my issue was. The man, a young beta with a square jaw and glasses, simply shrugged. Most social science books are hoarded in the storage room to free some space for the newer copies. Outdated tomes are of no use anyway. When would the newer copies be available? Who knows? We've been waiting for around 2 weeks now, so it might take some more time. Oh. If you really need those, you may go to the storage room and see what's left there. The books might not be in the best shape, but they should do the job all the same. That's quite alright. Thank you for your help. I will do that. You're welcome. The storage room is just in front of the library, so you don't have to go anywhere far. It's quite convenient, as more and more older books are being gathered there before the headmaster decides on a better place. I got it. Thank you again. I still love those windows. They're so pretty. Oh, there really is a storage room here. Next to classroom, A1. Somehow, I never noticed a label on the door. As I reached for the handle, wondering whether I needed to get the key first or not, the storage room door suddenly opened, and a tall, lean young man emerged from inside. Hello! We've seen glimpses of you before. Hello! There was a delicacy in his build, despite his height. His ruffled, milky brown hair had an ashy tint to it, and paired with the striking, vivid colors of his irises, made him look some kind of an exotic dove. His shapely face with high cheekbones, perfectly straight nose, and pale lips was just as elegant as the rest of him, both angular and soft in all the right places, as if he was a sculpture. He looked young, perhaps even a few years younger than me. I stared far longer than was proper, taking in the stranger's features, memorized and taken back by his striking beauty. My apologies, I didn't want to startle you. Are you coming in? Something about the person in front of me was so overawing that for a few moments I struggled to find any words at all. What is happening to me? You're being hit by heat, buddy. I need to say something before things take an awkward turn. Not without considerable effort, I forced myself out of the trance. The prominent blush that rose to my cheeks was something I chose not to acknowledge, and pretended to myself that the person I was facing did the same. Yes, I need to get a book or two, and the librarian said I should be able to find them inside. A book? The storage room is used mainly for old theater props and things left behind by the actors, staff, and guests that resided in this building years ago. It's mostly useless trinkets forgotten by the people who once owned them. Julian, the student council president, mentioned that the academy used to serve as a living quarters of sorts, and a place to store theater equipment. Yes, it was like a huge hotel with lots of space to lend, which is fortunate for the theater, taking into consideration the proximity of both buildings. All the actors that worked there, and a great part of the staff, had their rooms on the 3rd floor, where the student dormitories is now placed. They dined where we dine, and rested in the common room just like we do now. In a sense, not much has changed since then, though so much did. He sounds like he knows a lot about the past of the academy and the theater. Oh, is he a ghost? Are we talking to a ghost? Are you a student too? I admit I've never seen you before. Although that doesn't mean much. I myself haven't been in the academy. I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Everyone else knows as well. As the young man disappeared around the corner, it struck me how different he looked from all the other students. His fine clothing replaced by the usual school uniform was undoubtedly a sign of wealth, especially since he was allowed to wear them instead. As far as I knew, no one else did that, not even Vincent. Only then I realized that throughout our conversation, he never gave away any sign of his secondary gender. I'd already experienced such confusion when I met Dr. Langham. Just who was that exactly? We don't know what gender he is. Shaking my head, I grabbed the door handle and entered the storage room. Oh, it is a lot of theater props. I see a couple of books over there. The storage room was rather dark. Thankfully, a few rays of light could find their way in thanks to a couple of relatively small interior windows. Still, I needed some time for my eyes to get used to the lack of illumination. Once I did, I glanced around, taking in the sight of the various heaps, or seemingly useless or broken things, covered with a layer of dust. Stage props, costumes, several mannequins with barely started outfits. Nothing that much interesting. What was Laurent doing in here anyway? No matter how long I pondered, there was no way I'd come up with any plausible answer. I shook my head, deciding to simply ask him next time, provided that we did meet again. Okay, I'm gonna take a little break so I can go get more water. I am out of water and my mouth is dry. So, you guys just hang on and I'll be back in a minute. Let's see. Whee! Not that one. I'll be right back, just getting some water. Okay, hello, I'm back. Oh, Hilia's back too. Hello. Alright, my phone is now on life support. Heck yeah. Heck yeah, welcome back. We met Laurent while you were gone. We saw the twins in the library. Along with Julian and Noah. And we met Laurent. We're now in the storage closet looking for books. At the moment, I had a more important task, which was locating the old editions of the Social Studies reference book. I walked up to a pile of something that looked like book spines, delighted when they proved to be just that. I was hoping they'd be organized in at least some kind of boxes, but oh well. Let's just see if I happen to be lucky. Although the books seemed less dusty than the rest of the items in the room, which is plausible if the librarian's words had been true, I still needed to cover my mouth to prevent sneezing. Here it is. The book I was looking for. Oh, I thought he was gonna sneeze. No, he's just like, aha! Here's the book I was looking for. When I held the book in my hands, I noticed that there was some kind of partition between the pages. Not right in the middle, but close enough. Thinking that someone had unknowingly left their bookmark, I opened the tome. Oh, is it a letter? What I pulled out of the book was a thin piece of paper. It seemed as though the bottom was purposely cut out using something sharp. A pair of scissors or a knife. What is it? Oh, what? What? There was a murder? When I flipped the piece around, it turned out to be a page torn out of a newspaper, or at least a figment of it. This photo. It's the theater! Staring at the old photograph up close, there was no mistaking it. The building depicted was the exact same theater that the forest path I took led into. So that means the article I saw in the headmaster's cabinet was also written before the theater was closed. A cold shiver ran down my spine at the eerie memory. Abandoned yet spotless halls, chilling marble, strange whispers that seemed to glide off the walls. My sight slid from the picture to the article itself. Roses bathed in blood, horrific murders in the Grand Rose Theater. Yesterday morning, a heavily severed and beheaded body was found in the main hall of the famous Grand Rose Theater. What? Although the victim, a young man in his 20s, has not yet been identified, the theater staff suggests that the body might belong to one of the recent stage play specters. I remember a man dressed in a similar suit, a woman told the investigators. He was tall and blonde, hair on the longish side. The police are currently investigating the ghastly crime. Fans of the theater, still in shock due to the recent chains of mysterious occurrences regarding the facility, will undoubtedly be shaken to their core by today's gruesome news. To those of us who need a reminder, a few months ago, the theater's... I can't read the rest. I sat down on the ground, turning the piece of paper in my hand nervously, as if changing the angle would allow me to read the part that was removed. The Grand Rose Theater. I'm pretty sure I heard this name before. The newspaper page displayed it in the master's cabinet. Both articles are about the same theater, the one that's standing on the academy premises. I read the article once again, this time slower. Another shiver ran down my spine at the mental image it painted. Some poor man, murdered in such a horrific way. And judging from the last visible paragraph on the article, the crime described wasn't the only bizarre occurrence connected to the Grand Rose. Perhaps there really are ghosts in the theater. The students might have been right after all. Without thinking, I folded the piece of newspaper into a small cube and put it inside my pocket. I mean, yeah, it's been abandoned. The books are probably going to be, like, donated somewhere or, destroyed. So, the piece of paper has been forgotten, so yeah, we can take it. I should go. My specialty class is going to start soon. Well, I take it we didn't find a book, right? Oh, Helia says, you don't know how hard it is to pretend I don't know what's going on. Well, thank you. Thank you. After quickly putting the books away in my room, I found myself standing helplessly in the middle of the corridor. I just realized I have no idea where the drama class is being held. I should ask someone. Maybe I could find someone here. Oh, hi, Aura. Hey! Perfect. Do you have any idea where the drama class is going to be? Drama class? Wow, are you taking it? Yeah. Cool, so do I. Let's go together then. The class will be held in the auditorium. It's a separate building, actually. There's a corridor on the first floor that leads there. Really? The academy is so huge. It really is. Let's go, shall we? Oh, so it's this way. I was wondering where that patio leads to. As we walked down the long corridor, I slowly began to feel like the two of us were being watched. I looked over my shoulders, but the passage, not used quite as often as other parts of the academy, was empty. It's the same strange feeling I had the first day when Julian took me for a tour. Just to be sure, I took another quick look around. No one was in the corridor except me and Gilbert. I'm being ridiculous. Of course no one's following me. Oh, this is nice. It's here. Having already seen the building from afar, I was well aware of how big the hall must have been inside. Still, I couldn't help a small gasp of awe when we entered. Impressive, huh? It's enormous. Gilbert smiled and went away, probably sensing my desire to observe the hall for a bit. I took a few steps towards the middle and looked around. The room was at least 2 stories tall, with huge windows lining up on the longer side and balconies supported by simple arches on both shorter side. Underneath the elevations, I could see archways, most likely leading upstairs. Several scones hung on the balcony support, but the candles hadn't been lit yet. Instead, the deep red curtains were drawn up, letting the whole space bask in bright daylight. The wooden floor was clear of any furniture or other objects, which is why a lone construction just in front of the windows caught my attention. A rostrum? Perhaps this hall is normally used for speeches and the like, but since it's much bigger than any classroom in the main building, it's also perfect for holding activities such as drama class. I bet the opening ceremony took place right here. Yeah, you're probably right. Before I could even think about brooding over my absence in the very beginning of the semester, a deep yet gentle voice brought me back down to earth. Julian! Hey, buddy! Nice to see both of you. Should we start the class? I totally forgot Julian was going to be the teacher of this course. Oh yeah, on top of being student council president, a student of his own, he's also the drama teacher! When does this boy sleep? Everyone approached the council president as if preparing for a speech, even though he wasn't standing on the rostrum. I counted mostly beta students and, to my surprise, a few alphas, but not a single omega beside myself. Before we start, please allow me to briefly outline the course plan for the following semester. As you may know, our academy used to be an integral part of the world of theater plays. I firmly believe that as the successors of such culture, however incidental, we have an obligation to continue the tradition of raising brilliant actors and playwrights. Even though our theater will not be... For a brief moment, Julian's face contorted in surprise, as if he was about to voice something he never intended to say. He literally lasted a split second. I looked around, but nobody seemed to notice anything suspicious. Was my imagination playing tricks on me? I had no time to ponder. The president cleared his throat and continued without showing any signs of further confusion. Even though the simple course may not be enough to guarantee a spot in professional play, I shall do everything possible to secure a stage for anyone who wishes to stand on one. Once again, I thank you for your attendance. Please take a moment to get acquainted with this. We were all handed a brief outline of the upcoming classes. It looked crafted very meticulously and with great care. Julian paid attention even to the smallest details. One of the most essential traits of stage actor is not their excellent artistic skill or expressiveness, but confidence and precision in their movements. I mean, what do we of course it's going to be, like, very detailed. We don't expect anything less of our president, right? Julian must be getting paid or something. I was a student council president, and you cannot make me do all this work and not pay me. Oh, really? You think he's being paid? I hope he is. This boy deserves it. He is working hard, and now he's a freaking teacher. I should definitely pay him a teacher's salary if he's going to be teaching the class. I want to see this boy sleep, though, okay? He needs sleep. No one is ever one too many, nor is any gesture ever used. No step is over one too many, nor is any gesture ever useless. Today, we are focusing on deepening the understanding of your body mechanics, controlling your breathing, as well as maintaining balance at all times. Once these are mastered, you should gain fundamentals critical to learning any other aspect of acting, not to mention a great deal of self-confidence. Let us do some stretching first. Julian made it sound easy and assured us that we wouldn't get very tired, so there wasn't even any need to change clothes. But once I actually tried mimicking his graceful movements, I felt as if I never really learned to walk properly. Who would have thought that just closing my eyes will make me unable to keep standing straight? I'm going to fall. He's supporting me. Oh, Julian stepped in. He's like, okay, our wobbly little Omega's about to wipe out. Let me help here. No need to be afraid of losing balance. First, you learn how to fall. Only then will you know how to avoid it. Splendid job on keeping your eyes closed. Try extending your arms a bit farther. Julian put one palm on my waist and curled the other around my elbow. His hands are so warm. Then all of a sudden my whole body felt hot. My veins were about to burst from the rapid flow and I saw stars behind my eyelids. What? Oh no, is our heat starting? We're like, oh, he's so warm. This is so nice. Bam! The arm I was trying to lift higher went completely pliant and my legs gave in under my weight, abruptly void of any strength. But in the end, I never fell down. Julian's hold on my waist tightened, supporting me with surprising force. Yay! Julian made sure we didn't fall. Aura, is everything alright? As immediately as it started, the foreign sensation ebbed away, leaving me confused. Finally able to stand upright and open my eyes. Julian's worried gaze bore into mine, making me feel horribly self-conscious. Yes, I'm sorry. Embarrassing as it is, I spent a long time with no exercise whatsoever. Liar! You need to tell somebody how you're feeling. I wonder if it had anything to do with my upcoming heat. But this is way too early, isn't it? Or is this how an adult Omega's body is is no longer able to handle it? Oh, yeah! As soon as he became an adult, he was kicked out of the orphanage. So, yeah, he is now officially an adult, so his body is going to be a bit more adult heats, and he's only had childish heats. Especially that I've already felt something similar today, in the headmaster's office. My body might be giving me signs. Don't mention it. More importantly, are you certain it was nothing more than simple fatigue? Dude! You gotta tell him! Tell him! He will help you! Ugh. Okay, Hylia says, they just make you do speeches for your classes and bring up students' issues. Not worth a badge. I applaud this man. I truly am alright, but thank you for worrying. I hope you are. But if you experience anything like this again, please feel free to ask for assistance. Yes, Aura, problem child. Notice how Julian's not grabbing any other student. He isn't. He's only caring for us. Something was telling me Julian saw right through my dismissal, but he didn't press any farther. Yeah, there's no other Omegas in the room, so none of the other Omegas will be like, wait a minute. The class continued without incident until the very evening. Though the exercise wasn't very intense, some muscles that I never even knew I had were used almost forcibly. As a result, I felt more tired than any time before, but at the same time satisfied with the progress I'd made and expectant of the next classes, during which I was supposed to acquire some actual acting skills. Both my body and mind were exhausted, almost enough to forget the sudden wave of heat in Julian's concerned eyes. Aura, all you have to do is say, hey, I'm not feeling well, and go to the doctor. We need Cammy to help. Exactly. We need our Omega buddy. By the time I reached the main staircase, it had already become dark outside. I'm so tired. I guess I'll just head straight to my room. I'm not even sure if I'd manage to take a bath. I'll wake up early and take care of all non-urgent matters in the morning. Cammy, you in here? We need Omega advice. My suspicion proved correct. Once I made my way towards the bed, I didn't even register the moment my consciousness drifted away. And so, I fell into a deep slumber. Oh, we're dreaming about the, Oh, this is definitely flashbacks. The preparation for our official class banquet is almost ready. As you all know, it is a greatly important celebration that the theater holds every year, in which actors from the current repertoire meet with the theater sponsors and introduce them to the upcoming stage play. During this meeting, I have to ask all of you to be on your best behavior, though I know that those of you who have experience in theater banquets would do so regardless of my admonishment. Freshmen should follow suit. Under no circumstance can anyone fail to comply with the etiquette or disrespect one of our patrons. Is that understood? Naturally. The banquets are my favorite time of the year. Limited food and fine company of the most respected gentlemen in the city. What else could we ask for? I agree. The mere thought of all the delicacies that they prepared just for today. There's our boys. Alexander, Lewis, this is your first time attending a banquet, but surely not the last one. As two leading actors, you're expected to carry the burden of entertaining the patrons to your best of your ability. Their main entrance will lie on you. They will have many questions, more and less subtle one. Remember not to let out too much of the stage play's plot, or about yourselves. Don't overindulge in food or drinks. Stay approachable at all times. Nonchalance will be frowned upon, and a misplaced sense of superiority will bring trouble far greater than you can imagine. An offended patron might draw his investments back, not to mention causing a ruckus around a situation that displeased him, even to the point of getting the press involved. Remember that the theater exists due to the sponsors' goodwill. Without them, we wouldn't exist. An important part of your job is doing whatever they require of you. Is that understood? This is way too much pressure. This is way too much pressure. It's like, talk to them, make them feel happy. Don't be, da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, don't say much about the plot. Don't say too much about yourself. But do whatever they want to. Oh my god. I feel sorry for them. Of course, director. Yes, sir. Splendid! Now, follow me. So, Mr. Ardell, how are your preparations for the new role? I've heard from a few colleagues of mine that your partnership with Mr. Laveau is very promising. I believe so, sir. Alexander is a talented actor, not to mention that his dedicated, kind nature is an immense support to the entire cast. I know I can always rely on his intuition and passion for his work. Let us not forget about his looks, Mr. Ardell. Surely Mr. Livio's bodily charms did not escape your attention. It would be difficult for any alpha to concentrate on acting alone when an omega of such beauty stands right next to you, acting as your lover. Some say that you two are very comfortable in your roles. It's rather thought-provoking, isn't it? We do our best to convince the audience of our characters' mutual attachment, sir. That is all. Is it true that the Rose Prince is your first major role, Mr. Ardeur? I heard that for some time now I cannot see Sasha anywhere. Oh no, is the baby okay? Is the baby okay? He must be swarming with admirers at the other side of the room. Perhaps I should go find him when an opportunity arises. For now, there's a long line of patrons lining up to ask me questions about the play. The stage director wouldn't be happy if I disappointed them in walking away. Mr. Ardell. My apologies, sir. My attention must have drifted elsewhere for a second. What was your question again? Where's the baby? Alexander, I need to speak with you for a moment. Yes, sir? Mr. Johannes von Mischenbach is here. This Mr. Mischenbach? None other. Johannes von Mischenbach is our biggest sponsor. He owns over 50% of the theater's total shares. Despite being an owner of the several potent businesses whose leisure time is very limited, Mr. Meckenbach attends every single banquet of the Grand Rose without fail. Only last year, he dedicated a small portion of his cigarette factory capital to the theater's renovation. As a main star of the upcoming stage play, you should greet Mr. Meckenbach and thank him personally for his kind patronage. Of course, Director. Please point me in the right direction. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna catch up on chat for a second. No, I'm not postponing this. No. You do realize he's letting out pheromones and the alphas can sense them, but they're not saying anything. I thought it was the other way around, like the headmaster was letting out pheromones, but yes, that makes sense. That makes sense. He's letting out pheromones because he's so close to his heat. They are so jealous. They're jealous he gets to act with Sasha. Exactly. He is. They are. That pose says it all. Yes, look at that pose. Look at that pose. Mr. Leolov. Finally, I get to meet the Rose Prince himself. Oh, I need to find a good voice for this possible douchebag. It is my pleasure, sir. Oh no, the pleasure is all mine. I am not entirely sure if you're aware, but stories about you have already become a favorite topic in our theater patron circle. Apparently, attending the Rose Prince rehearsals and seeing you in your element alone was enough for some of my good colleagues to name you the most talented Omega actor of the decade. And that says a lot, given how particular those men are when it comes to their taste in actors. To swear that they would spend every last coin on seeing a stage play on its opening night, you made quite an impression, Mr. Liloff. And you haven't even set foot on a real stage yet. Oh, he's blushing a little bit. Naturally, I thought those tales to be far-fetched. But perhaps they're not. It's a shame that the future of this stage play lies uncertain. We may never find out for sure whether you're worthy of the title that's been given to you so prematurely. What do you mean, sir? Tonight, I came to the banquet to inform the director that I'm about to withdraw the majority of my shares and invest them elsewhere. Oh no. Sir? Your generous Patreon means a great deal to the director and the entire cast. If you take it away from us, Mr. Liloff, the truth is that I do not care much for your colleagues' gratitude, nor for your stage director's success. I do not feel the need to involve myself in the theater's affairs half as much as your management seems to think I do. I supported the Grand Rose for almost a decade because I strongly believed it had potential to become one of the greatest theaters in the entire country. Yet, season after season, stage plays keep disappointing. The same plot served in a slightly altered setting. The same repetitive motives. The same faces. In the end, the Grand Rose grew old, failing to bring anything of interest for the last few years. I was hoping that you would come to talk to me tonight. I wish to tell you personally before approaching the stage director. Is he doing this just to make us feel guilty? Make him sound like an old creep. No spoilers. I'm getting creep vibes. I think he wants to take advantage of Sasha. Oh, my mouth is so dry. I'm having problems talking today. Sir, if you withhold your funding, not only the stage play, but the entire theater will take a hit it might not recover from. We need your patronage to continue. Indeed. Now, having met you, I understood that there is some potential in the theater to be found after all. Still, hesitation does not lie in my nature. Should I give the Grand Rose one more chance, I wonder? Or should I follow my business gut and support a more profitable institution instead? Perhaps you could share your opinion with me, Mr. Leof. Just between the two of us. Oh, poor baby. If this man takes half of the theater's capital with him, our careers are as good as done with. There'll be no stage play. Not this one, and not any other. The director has no idea of this man's intentions yet. The Rose Prince would definitely steal your heart, sir, if you only gave it an opportunity to see it in the light of day. Perhaps not. You are a beautiful man, Mr. Liloff. Far more beautiful than what I imagined when I first heard about you. And believe me, my imagination is vivid. No! He is trying to pressure Sasha into... Okay, he is trying to pressure Sasha into sleeping with him to keep the profits for the theater. Ugh. Gosh. Ugh. Gross. Yes, exactly. I see you reach the same conclusion I did. He's a gaslighter. How can you withdraw last minute? Isn't this frowned upon in the 1800s? He's obviously trying to make Sasha desperate enough to sleep with him. Exactly. He is backing this beautiful Omega in a corner. Oh no. He's gonna totally wreck Sasha. Baby. But looks are not everything. Isn't there a spark behind that attractive face of yours? Is there passion and talent to support that pleasing facade? The success of the entire play relies on whether or not you're capable of carrying the role of Rose Prince. I'm dedicating my heart and soul to this character, sir. I'll practice as long as it takes until every single guest is satisfied with my performance. I won't let you or anyone else down. A bold statement. I like that. You see, I've talked with your director about the nature of your role some time ago. Who is Avilio, the Rose Prince? A blooming flower of his kingdom. A beautiful Omega Prince that is forced to marry against his will. He told me. A prince who plans to escape with one of his future husband's generals. An attractive, gentle Omega who he falls in love with. Their story is full of passion, dedication, and loyalty to each other. Their feelings made them feel like anything is possible. How does the story end, Mr. Liloff? I don't think I should... Please, do tell. He was told not to reveal the plot, but now he's faced with this guy who has 50% control. And, oh gosh. The king of Heldarian, Avilio's husband-to-be, finds out about his oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I'm having speech problems today. The king, Avilio's husband-to-be, finds out about his fiancée's affair with Flavian, his most trusted general. And then, the general is accused of seducing Avilio and betraying his king, then thrown into a high-security prison. Soon after, Hadrian orders his execution. But Avilio begs for his release, tells Hadrian he'll do anything he pleases just to call off the sentence. Go on. After several days, King Hadrian decides to banish Flavian from the lands instead of taking his life. What happens to the prince? He marries the king as promised and dedicates his life to the kingdom of Ervian. Thanks to his sacrifice, the Rose Fall hold. still ruled by his father, thrives for many centuries. But Vilio's heart is getting torn from within, yearning after his lover. He hopes that one day they'll reunite and start living as they once wished to. Now you understand, Mr. Leof, why I have doubts. The stage play's plot is a splendid one, but the challenge it posed for a beginning actor like yourself might prove to be too great. It requires maturity, dedication, and absolute focus. The entire range of complex, strong emotions that you'll need to convey with your acting. The passion, the love, the sacrifice. I know I can do it, sir. I am prepared. Prove it. Of course. If you'd be so kind to come to our next rehearsal, I'm sure I could... A rehearsal, Mr. Leof, would never be able to deliver the full experience. It wouldn't show the potential or the emotions nearly as distinctive as I'd like to witness them. There has to be a way for me to convince you somehow, sir. Just give me a chance. Very well. There are some matters I need to take care of right now, but once I'm done, you may meet me on the 3rd floor. Sir? Room 304 in 30 minutes. Oh no. Oh no. Here you are. I've been looking for you everywhere. Is everything alright? You're shaking all over. Did you have too much to drink? Or is it cold in here? I can give you my jacket. Louis, Yes? It's nothing. Thank you for worrying about me. Tell him! Tell him! Sasha? I'm just tired, that's all. I think I'll go upstairs and get some sleep. Tell him! No! Don't leave it there! Don't leave it there! No! Come back! Come back! No! Go back to sleep! Go back to sleep, Aura. Go back to sleep. I want to know. Dang it! Nightmares plagued my sleep the entire night. I vaguely remembered struggling with my sheets and nightgown for hours, tossing and turning in my bed, never getting the position or the temperature right. I woke up half relieved and half frustrated that it was time to get up already. Judging from the position of the sun, it must have been around 8 o'clock in the morning. Camy's not here. Even though today's a day off, I suppose he's not the type to sit around idly. I wonder where he went. The moment I tried to get up from bed, an unexpected wave of nausea hit me so hard I had to lie back down quickly to avoid retching all over myself. I feel horrible. At this point, I'm not even sure whether it's the heat or something else entirely. Go to the doctor! The symptoms are somewhat similar, but tenfold as intense. Not to mention the unusual timing. I had to give up on trying to sit, afraid that I'd instead land face first on the floor. Even the smallest movement is making me dizzy. Perhaps I should go see the Dr. Langham. I don't think I could endure another 10 minutes in this state. Yes, go see the doctor. Tentatively, I tried raising myself up on my arms. When I was positive that the worst of my nausea had passed, I stood up and put on my uniform. Yes, go see the doctor. The corridors are always bustling with life when the students are left to do whatever they please. Suddenly, it feels like the academy is twice as full. Hey, it's the kid! Hi, Aura! Angelo, hello. Feeling at home yet? Pretty much. Thank you for asking. He's so considerate for his age. How have you been? I'm okay, but my dad is really busy recently, so it's been a little boring. Professor St. Clair is always working so hard. The summer break is drawing closer. Perhaps then things will become less hectic, and you'll have more time to play with you. He's not busy with teaching stuff, though. It's something mysterious he wouldn't talk to me about. Oh? I hate it when he hides things from me. I'm almost an adult. What makes you think that he hides something? I've heard bits and pieces of a conversation my dad had with the student council president the other day. This should stay between us for now. We can't let anyone else know, is what he said to him. Later, when I tried to ask about it, he told me it was nothing. But I'm observant. I can tell that he's more busy than usual, always looking through strange documents and stuff. I wish he would stop. So Professor St. Clair and Julian are keeping some kind of mutual secret. Whatever reason they might have, it'll be better for me not to presume too much. Maybe you can play with me. I know I promised I would, and I tend to keep that promise, but I really need to go see the doctor now. I'm sorry. Dr. Langham? Are you sick? I'm not sure. I dislike the doctor. He's so cold towards everyone, it makes me feel weird. I hope you get better. We could play next time. I wonder what made Angelo dislike Dr. Langham. Well, I suppose he might be awkward with kids, knowing his rather strict and businesslike attitude. One way or another, I should get going along. Is he his father? Doctor, you here? We need help. It's quiet in here. Is the doctor away? Before I managed to take a closer look around the room and check whether the doctor was in his office, a simple bottle that set the open cabinet caught my attention. Unlike other flasks and vials that surround it, this one was empty. I leaned in, trying to read the small, nearly ineligible label. Took me for oh god. Oh, this live stream is a struggle, guys. I'm probably gonna play for about 15 more minutes, so we end at 2. Because I'm trying to keep the live streams to about 2 hours because I'm falling kind of behind on other things. So you guys get a heads up today. I leaned in, trying to read the small, nearly ineligible label. It took me several seconds. The person who wrote it surely had talents for anything but calligraphy. It couldn't have been Dr. Langham. His handwriting was as neat as everything else that belonged to him. Scent neutralizer. Could it be? Don't tell me that the substance somehow masked one's secondary gender? That would explain why we can't tell about what the doctor's gender is. Suddenly, a single ping of metal echoed softly through the walls. It came from the doctor's office. So the doctor is here after all. He sure works without making much sound. Hopefully my presence at such an early hour won't disturb him. If my headache wasn't so severe, I would have waited at least until noon before coming here. Hey, if you're sick, you're sick. I took a few steps towards the door, meaning to introduce my arrival to the doctor, but the moment I put my hand on the doorknob and peeked inside, a melodic voice I was more than familiar with reached my ears. Oh, Esha. You not feeling good either? It's Esha. What is he doing here? Just a moment, Mr. Sungni. I know it's uncomfortable, but this is the only way for me to take a sample. From where I was standing, I couldn't see much more than the doctor's bowed back and some flashes of Aisha's dark skin. But it was clear as day that Omega was nude, sprawled on a table in front of the doctor and undergoing some kind of examination. The moment I realized that I'd walked upon something I shouldn't be seeing, I took a step back and hid behind the wall, panicking. I was breathing in and out as quietly as I could. The blood that rushed to my head made my vision go black for a splinter of a second. Finally, another ringing sound of metal tools being handled was heard, and I couldn't help but sigh in relief that the two men didn't notice my presence. All done. I need to take some notes. Feel free to put on your clothing meanwhile. After a slight rustle, which I guess was Esha getting dressed, I could hear the Omega speak. Is that everything for today? Yes, that'll be all. Don't forget to come back in a week for another test. Yes, Doctor. One more thing. Do consider what I told you earlier, Mr. Sangnin. Under the unnatural overexposure, your brother will only be able to stand so much. Something's going on. Research has proven over and over again that even in the case of close-knit siblings, an alpha is eventually going to get affected. There's no way around it, I'm afraid. Being a prospective young man that you are, I'm sure you'll come to the right conclusion sooner rather than later. Oh, is it causing problems because they're so close to all the time? Do trust me that in the long run, making an informed decision will benefit the both of you. I understand, Doctor. Thank you. Feel free to come back if you have any questions or concerns. Of course. I jumped out of the way, distancing myself from the door. When Aisha emerged out of the office, I pretended to have just arrived. Hi. He looked surprised at first, but I dismissed any thought that he might be suspecting me of having witnessed his examination in any way, rationalizing that anyone would be slightly taken back at the coincidental timing. Indeed, after a moment he smiled back at me, probably relieved at the realization that I couldn't possibly have seen him. As inconspicuous... Oh my gosh. I am so sorry, guys. As inconspicuous as possible, I tried to find any signs of illness or upcoming heat on him, but with no avail. Aisha appeared as calm and as healthy as ever, nothing giving away any potential condition he might have. In fact, he looked like the last person who might be needing medical attention of any sort. But the doctor did mention some kind of sample. It sounded quite serious. Not to mention, Aisha implied it's far from the first time he's being examined. Didn't he join the academy not long before I did? Is something wrong, I wonder? Well, it's not like I can ask him a question like that. The doctor also mentioned Nora being affected by something. My inner turmoil was disturbed by the office door opening. Oh, Mr. Moonbell. Can I help you with something? Aisha gave me a small nod, then walked past me and out the office. When I heard the click of the door closing, I looked at the doctor again. I feel dizzy and nauseous ever since I woke up. It's probably nothing major, but I thought I could ask for some kind of help. A simple painkiller would do, I think. Boy, let the doctor decide that. It's better not to prescribe medicine carelessly, especially without taking a proper look at the symptoms first. It's been like this since morning, you say. Well, I was feeling off yesterday, too. My head was spinning, and I think I was close to collapsing at one point. Follow me to the office, please. I need to examine you. Sit down, please. The smell of the antiseptics and disinfectants associated with the hospitals have always made me slightly alert, but never as much as when I followed the doctor into his office. I couldn't help a wary glance towards the numerous vials and utensils, neatly arranged not only on the shelves, but also many other flat surfaces available. I felt even more awkward now than I did during our standard checkup at the beginning of the semester, when I had to undress in front of so many students. I was silent, hoping there wouldn't be any such need today. Perhaps I feel so protective of myself because I'm actually sick now. Calm down, Aura. He's about to help. There's nothing to be afraid of. I took a seat on one of the chairs as instructed. The doctor measured my temperature and pulse rate, then proceeded to listen to my hearts and lungs by auscultation. When he was done, he put away the stethoscope and pulled out a pair of new white gloves. You seem to have a small fever. Lungs are clear, heart rate within norm. Dr. Langham cast a long, evaluating glance at me. When was your last heat, Mr. Moonbell? It was... Truthfully, I haven't had an adult heat yet, Doctor. I see. Omega boys usually have their first heat around the age of 13, then stop within 2 to 3 years. Then they start again within the ages of 18 or 19. So he might not have had a heat for 3 years at this point. As you were probably told numerous times in the past, adult heats differ significantly from those of adolescent Omegas. You haven't gone through one yet, but once you do, you'll fully understand the scope. My previous heats only stopped after I turned 17. The orphanage medics kept telling me I had nothing to worry about for at least the next 3 years. I guess I got too careless, assuming that my organism is identical to the models prescribed in biology books. Of course things are different for everyone. Your adult body craves connection. It wants to become one with an alpha and create a new life. And so, the time of your heat will be a difficult one. You have to approach it clear-headed and make decisions you won't regret later. That is precisely why I recommend you go visit the Academy's heat helpers once your struggles begin, or even before that, to get acquainted with the place. It's like, listen, your body wants a baby, so yeah, you need to go visit the heat helpers. Oh no. I don't think this is something I could. I assure you that our personnel are methodical, disciplined professionals who are trained for years to be able to relieve your heat pain as fast as possible. There's also no risk whatsoever involved in coupling with them, which is more than any other option I could ever offer you. Is our boy gonna be coupling soon? I felt an involuntary blush creep up my neck as I had to avert my gaze from the doctor's emotional expression. How can he talk about such things with a straight face? Because he's a doctor and he has been dealing with this for years, okay? He is desensitized to it. Like, it's as simple and common as taking a pill. Seeing my obvious embarrassment and reluctance, the doctor elaborated. The vast majority of Omega students use the service without complaint. Those who don't are scarce, and have no big chances or desires to finish their studies here anyway. I see. I'll take this option into consideration. Dr. Langham nodded, then gestured toward the examination table. Let's proceed to the next stage of test now. Could you take off your corset and collar, then show me your back and neck to me? As if sensing the question that was hanging in the air between us, the doctor hurried to explain before I even opened my lips to ask. I have to make sure that you haven't been bitten by an alpha. It is a standard procedure, but Academy rules require me to check for those personally. Please give me a moment. With slightly shaky hands, I untied my tight lace corset, then reached behind my neck to undo the high collar that decorated and protected my neck. I could feel the doctor move behind me a second later, his gloved hand sweeping my dark hair to one side, then gliding towards the nape of my neck. He massaged the soft skin there for a while, feeling for any injuries and marks. I trembled slightly under his cold touch. This is a sin. That's what you say. Alphas usually place their marking bites on either side of the nape. Rarely they go lower down the Omega's back. As if to punctuate his words, Dr. Langham unbuttoned my white shirt and slid his hands down my spine in one practiced stroke. Seeming pleased that he hadn't found anything suspicious, he hummed a little and drew back. Very good. Now, take off the bottom part of your attire and put your hands on the table, please. Or is like, excuse me, sir. Is that really necessary? The moment the words left my mouth, I felt ridiculous for even asking. The doctor gave me an unreadable look. The examination wouldn't be thorough without me checking your reproductive organs. Omegas are delicately built, and infections are common. It's much better to prevent a disease rather than cure it. Part of me wanted to deny, to say I wasn't feeling nearly as bad as the other men suspected, and just leave, but Dr. Langham seemed to know what he was doing, and fighting with him over the issue I myself came to address would be foolish. I understand. Tentatively, I reached down to unbutton my pants, stepped out of them a second later and bit my lower lip, grabbing the hem of my underwear. This was the first time I had to bare my body to anyone as an adult. This is so... When the doctor turned his back to me, reaching for something in one of his drawers, I slid the panties down my legs, blushing furiously. Dressed in nothing but the unbuttoned, crumpled shirt that was hanging off my shoulders awkwardly, I had to forcibly will my muscles to move and position myself in a way the doctor requested, hands propped on the table with my back turned towards him. To say that it was embarrassing would be a vast understatement, but I decided to clench my teeth and take the examination with as much grace as I could muster, given the situation. Oh! Oh, hello! I was not expecting a, picture there, but, here we go. This looks a lot more naughty than it is. Let's see. I could feel the doctor's fingers slickened with some sort of substance for easier penetration, prod at my entrance. They tested my clenched opening at first, then start to slowly press forward until 2 digits were buried up to the first knuckle. Okay, I don't know where this is going. I don't know where this is going. So, and this is live, so, yeah, guys, just buckle up. You seem to be in a preheat state, which meant that your estrous cycle will start in 1-2 days at most. Dizziness, nausea, muscle weakness, and hot flashes are all common symptoms. If not accompanied by high fever, there's nothing to be alarmed about. The doctor twisted his fingers and thrust them in farther, examining the tense, pulsating muscle underneath. Unprepared for the stretch and the burning sensation that followed it, I let out a surprised pain yelp. My apologies. You haven't started producing slick yet, and the oil alone is not enough to make this process fully comfortable. Or like, no shit, Sherlock! I struggled to focus on my breathing, count my heartbeats, trace the vein of the wooden table I was gripping so hard I almost dug holes into it with my nails. Do absolutely anything that would help ignore the stinging discomfort. Despite all the effort, I felt myself involuntarily jerking away from the point of contact. As if to take my mind off the procedure, the doctor broke the silence in a conversational tone. Do you know what makes Omegas so valuable as mates, Mr. Moonbell? Why do alphas pursue them so fiercely? I did my best to ignore the ping of metal that sounded right behind me, and instead try to focus on the question. I'm not sure. Another metallic sound reverberated in the room. The curiosity finally won over wariness, and I cast a quick glance over my shoulder to check what it was. In the corner of my vision, I spotted a gloved hand putting away a thermometer and replacing it with a long utensil that looked like a thin, bent rod with something round at the end. I thought I also caught a glimpse of light reflecting in the glass of what resembled a test tube, but before I could confirm, I heard the doctor speak again. Omegas, unlike female betas, are induced ovulators. They don't ovulate unless copulation takes place. Oh? What that means is that each time they engage in sexual activities with an alpha, the chances of conception are greatly increased. Although the exact percentage is difficult to determine, it is believed that in 3 cases out of 4, an Omega is going to get impregnated during intercourse. For young Omegas, the chances are even higher. Would it really be so easy for me to... But that's not everything. While female betas, regardless of their mate's secondary gender, are capable of delivering beta offspring only, Omegas can give birth to both alphas and Omegas. As the doctor carried on his ministrations, pressing and kneading relentlessly, my mind wandered to the day I first met him in the job center. Since that moment, I haven't caught a single whiff of his scent. He smelled completely neutral. even more so than a beta would. Judging from his appearance alone, he had to be an alpha. Broad shoulders, confident posture, authoritative air around him. But scent-wise, I was getting no signals whatsoever. Suddenly, Dr. Langham's gloved finger drew back, pulling out of my exposed opening. The examination is over. You may dress now. I suppressed a sigh of relief and raised myself back up, reaching for my underwear without hesitation and pulling it back on as quickly as I could. I was barely done when I heard a soft thud somewhere behind me, followed by the doctor explaining that the medication would temporarily alleviate the symptoms and that I should drink it right away. I looked over my shoulder to find a small brownish vial placed in the wooden table. Without thinking, I grabbed it and drank the content in one big gulp, wincing after I registered the bitter taste. It might have been a placebo effect, but I felt the fever lessen slightly. Then remembered I was standing there half naked. Forcing my still shaky fingers to cooperate, I rushed to put on the rest of my clothing, while doing my best not to appear as if I was in a hurry. By the time the last snap of my collar fell into place, I felt my breathing go back to relative normal, and I got my voice under control enough to speak calmly. That was literal hell? Yes. Yes, poor baby. It's like, hell no, I'm not letting this dude touch me. Yeah, why was he in a yellow shirt? His model before that wasn't in a yellow shirt, so why was he in a yellow shirt? Doctor? Oh, he is in a yellow shirt. See, he does have a yellow shirt on under his vest and jacket, so I guess he just had all that off. Yes, Mr. Moonbell. I was wondering whether I could ask you a question. Okay. Ask him about his scent. Ask him about beta-omega relationships. Ask him about omega-omega relationships. Can we ask more than one question? Goodness. We ask him about his scent. I don't know if he'll answer it, because he's clearly wanting to keep it hidden. Ask him about beta-omega. That'd be like if we're interested in being with Julian. Omega-omega is like if we're interested in being with Cammy or Esha. Instead of an answer, the professor gestured towards a chair and sat on another one himself, waiting for me to continue. I took the seat, along with a deep breath. I was wondering, is it possible for an Omega to mate with someone other than an Alpha? Maybe even with another Omega? Once the words left my mouth, I realized how silly they must have sounded, but the doctor merely gave me a puzzled look. Technically, it is possible for an Omega to mate whoever they wish, regardless. Nevertheless, such behavior would hardly yield any meaning, not to mention tangible results. First of all, alphas possess a trait that is exclusive to them, and at the same time indispensable for satiating an alpha or an omega in heat. Their scent glands produce hormones, which are only known substance capable of neutralizing those omegas, that make them so restless and starving for content. This is true even for our heat helpers, since production of the hormones is not permanently tied to the reproductive ability and can, to a certain degree, be induced via proper medication. Taking the nature of an omega's heat into account, the lack of an alpha factor is simply not viable. I tried not to look disappointed, but it was difficult. If the doctor was telling the truth, and why wouldn't he, then I was nothing more than a slave of my own body. Nature is something we should not oppose, Mr. Moonbell. There's always a reason for the way things work. While we strive to overcome certain aspects of such mechanisms, others are not possible. While still digesting this information, the doctor seemed to assume I had no further questions. I hope your curiosity was satisfied. Now please, go take some rest, and I do consider my advice. Regardless of whether or not your injury had any relation to your upcoming heat, make sure you evaluate all pros and cons and make an educated decision before factors other than common sense impair your judgment. If you have any other doubts, I'll be at your disposal anytime. Thank you, Doctor. I bowed my head slightly and turned to leave the office. With one hand on the doorknob, I risked a quick glance over my shoulder. Dr. Langham was already hunched over his desk, occupied with anything but my lingering presence. I had barely stepped out of the medical office when I realized that someone was standing there with an obvious intent to knock on the door just as I closed. Oh, hey, Noah. Though there was no way he would have heard, much less seen anything that took place in the examination room, separated from the corridor with another vast space where the patient could change and wait for their turn. My instinctive reaction was panic. After all, he may have done something similar to what I'd done earlier. Go out and pretend to just reach the office when in fact he'd been inside the whole time. At any other time, I'd probably think this very far-fetched assumption, but right in the moment, it seemed almost certain to me that for some reason, Noah knew everything that happened behind the examination door. I was so embarrassed that for a few seconds I couldn't squeeze any sound out of my constricted throat. Noah, this is so awkward. Is the doctor in his office? Professor DiCario sent me to fetch some clove oil for the... What was that? It came from the main hall. Let's go see what happened. Oh, something happened. Yeah, well, nature's gonna have to step aside. I'm going for my baby Cammy. Ohelia's like, well, nature, you going for your baby? Okay. Alright, I think this is going to be a good time to stop for this week. Thank you, everybody, for joining. I have hopefully we'll be live streaming next week. I do have something that's supposed to happen on Wednesdays, so if something comes up and I can't, I'll notify you guys. But if all goes well, I'll see you next week so we can figure out what the heck's happening with this. Because something's happening. Maybe somebody fell down the stairs. That would suck. Would really suck. Alright. Bye, all my chickadees. I hope you have a good week.